Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Friend Shad Pearson, and welcome again to my channel. We have July 16th of 2025. Man, what time? I have 2:37 in the p.m. Let's say it together. Praise God from whom our blessings flow. You are looking at Akhenaten. Akhenaten. He was the 10th ruler of the 18th dynasty. The 10th ruler of the 18th dynasty, a pharaoh from Egypt. Because I believe we're in the last days, and I see so much, in my humble opinion, a reference and similarity and orchestration of the Egyptian dynasty, also of the Roman Empire. From time to time, I do go there. And this is one of the videos I must go there because I have an opinion, right? As a content creator, I do have an opinion from time to time, as you well know. I want to try to scurry through this, make it as plain as possible. You see, people, these are the last days. And Satan wants to bring the best of the best from the past, and he wants that mindset in today. I believe Akhenaten was possessed by the devil. I believe what ruled his mind and what ruled Pharaoh's mind, the Egypt, these were devils. They worshiped the sun god. They worshiped Satan and Moloch and Baal. They worship graven images, and their actual constitution, that is their mindset, their governance, reflected that. That's back, people. That is back. And I want you to be patient with me, even those who are not saved and covered under the blood of Jesus. I want you to be patient because I want to show you what I believe the Lord has been showing me. But right now, let me break this thing down in an economic front. The firing of Jerome Powell of the Federal Reserve. Yes, that's the rumor out right now. There's a whisper that our president, Donald J. Trump, is going to fire the Fed Chairman, Jerome Powell. I will show you some history of the Federal Reserve, bring it up to date. As I've said in the last few videos, they're going to make gold king. That will reflect the dynasty of the Antichrist. And it reflects the kingdom of Ra, the sun god. They will devaluate the dollar. But they will give the impression that they're going to make America great, knowing full well the intent is to rise the gold. There is a message when you hear someone firing someone. In such a prestigious position as Fed Chairman, to me, there is a message, okay? And that message to me is gold goes up and the dollar goes down. And it also sets a climate. And there's a risk. Trump is saying in so many words, the way I interpret it is, I have a certain format that I'm following to make America's economy strong in relation to the world economy. He called the Fed Chairman some name. I think he called him, don't quote me, I think a knucklehead. I might have put it in a video. I do so many, but he called him not a smart man, knucklehead. I'm paraphrasing, but you heard the quotes. And he says he likes him, but he doesn't like his policies. He's not changing the interest rate. He's not satisfying Trump, okay? Now, the risk here is that if you print money right now and you lower rates, you're risking inflation. So I want to introduce you to tariff tax versus the acts. We grew up on taxes. You and I pay federal, state, and local taxes out of our check. But we don't talk about the acts. Well, I believe Akhenaten, that spirit, is alive and well. They're taking the axe to our government And we don't see the repercussions now. And then when they come up, they hide them. They shield them. But they talk in code. I'm going to break it down to you, okay? It's like two heavyweight champions being in the ring. Jerome Powell from the Federal Reserve and Trump of the United States. They're going to go at it. Trump will eventually win, I'm predicting. And you won't see the full results until time. It's like you might go 15 rounds with someone, but you batter and abuse. And, you know, when you get done, you might have got the crown of glory, but your eye hurts, your legs hurt, your knees hurt, your chest hurt. It takes you a long time to recover. It's like a running back after a serious football game. That's the condition America's going to be in. And then you'll be able to blow her over with just a blow of your breath. Now, has a president ever fired a Fed chairman? The answer is no. I did the research. I'm going to show you Powell's date of birth, his election date, and the Federal Reserve date of birth. Trump wants dominance. He wants to be like Akhenaten. And again, we're risking the climate. Why? Because if you don't have an experienced person in there, if you don't have a yes man, which I believe that's what Trump wants to dominate everything. If you notice, he's on a roll. In 6 months, many are calling him a dictator, and I agree with it. And now he wants to control the future of the money. All eyes on me, Tupac. This is a risk. He's a businessman, but Trump's not a Fed chairman. But if he gets a yes man in there, we're going to be in trouble. Now, let's go down this rabbit hole. I showed you, has a president ever fired a Fed chairman? No, a U.S. president has never fired a Federal Reserve chairman. Okay? Never. It has never happened. Now, check this out. Inflation peaks up again in June, rising at 2.7% annual rate. But you heard Trump the last few days saying the economy is roaring. Remember he said all last week, we were dead this time last year. Now we're the beacon of hope and economically we're strong. Well, it came in at 2.7%. This was just posted yesterday. At the same time, consumer purchases are down on big ticket items. And also when it comes down to shipping and moving items, that's down as well. So the tariffs are having an effect on our economy. But Trump is not addressing that. He's thinking that in a short period of time it will turn around. And he says it has in so many words.
So the rates of CPI inflation has now increased from 2.4% in May to 2.7% in June. So that is a big jump for just 1 month. Core CPI inflation is accelerated from 2.8% in May to 2.9% in June. Now, of course, everyone is asking, are tariffs to blame for this rise in inflation? And a lot of people are making the argument that tariffs are not inflationary because US consumers are already tapped out. Okay, so what does that mean? It means that people just don't have any more money. So if prices are increased for consumers, then consumers are going to be forced to look for cheaper alternatives, or they're just going to have to go without that product. And because the typical US consumer is tapped out, retailers in other countries will have to eat a good portion of the tariffs, at least for now. That's their argument. And then other people are making the argument that, of course, tariffs are inflationary. Importers are going to pay the tariff, and they're going to pass that tariff on to the end customer. But
That's it. Now listen to this here.
Congress, if he should fire Jerome Powell. These reports now echo what we saw late yesterday with these comments here, that Congresswoman Anna Polina says that Fed Chair Jerome Powell's firing is imminent, who then, quote tweets this news on herself and says, confirmed. So Anna Polina is posting that Donald Trump is going to fire Powell by Friday. This is coming at the same time as we're now getting reported that Donald Trump indicated he'll fire Powell. He asked the GOP members on Tuesday about firing Powell. Also apparently asked if he should fire Powell. and that if he would do so by Friday. Now, this is really interesting because it comes at a time.
That's a climate. That's a climate.
Jerome Powell, before we talk about it, let's just play part of what the president said when asked whether or not he is going to fire the Fed chair.
He's a terrible Fed chair. I was surprised he was appointed. I was surprised, frankly, that Biden put him in and extended him, but they did. So, we're not planning on doing anything. We're very concerned. We should be paying 3 points lower, and we would save $1 trillion a year in interest if that were the case. And all it is the stroke of a pen. And that goes for his board too, because his board is not doing the job, because they should try and rein this guy in. So he's doing a lousy job, but no, I'm not talking about that. Fortunately, we get to make a change in the next, 8 months or so. And
we'll see what happens in a few days. The time is ticking. I believe the signal was in his tie. Gold is king. The goal is gold. The goal is to reflect the Egyptian dynasty and the Roman rule. That's what I believe they're bringing. And they got to have a boogeyman. They got to have a scapegoat. But don't you think for 1 minute Jerome Powell doesn't know, in my humble opinion. Now, here's Jerome Powell. He became the Federal Reserve Chairman back in February 5th of 2018. Watch these numbers. Let's tell this story, right, okay? 2/5/2018. Take 2/5/2024, his last anniversary of being installed as Fed Chairman. Friday's date is 7/18/2025. The difference is 529. 529 days he would have lasted. What is 529 in my mind? 529, bingo. It sets the climate for Donald J. Trump to be unalive. JFK's birthday is 5/29. What are the odds that Jerome Powell, if this comes true, that means he only worked 529 days. The Bible says we don't deal with flesh and blood. We're dealing with principalities. I can't wait to find out what's going to go on because I want to revisit this here. If I'm wrong, then it's just commentary, but we'll see. We will see. Now, check this out. The Federal Reserve, you heard about it back in the day. They had the Titanic. They're supposed to have a meeting with all the major people, millionaires and billionaires back in the day. Some of them got on the ship for the meeting and some got off. And the ones who were, they said, opposed to the Federal Reserve, they died in the Titanic. And then later on, the Federal Reserve was what? The Federal Reserve was created through Congress. Well, that date is December 13th. Look up the history of the Titanic. You'll see it. December 13th, 1913. Look at this. December 23rd, that's the date, right? December 23rd. December 23rd, 1913, the Federal Reserve was created. 7/18/2025, that's Friday. Federal Reserve Chairman, they say, might be fired. The difference is 111 years ago, people. There's that 111 again, right? Remember I showed you before, new subscribers, you got to check out my old videos. The Pope died on April 21st, which was the 111th day of the year. The only sole survivor that was going to India on the plane 3 weeks ago, he was in seat 811. 8 is the first letter of the alphabet, so that's 111. So many 111s. You can even look at the videos that I just produced on Texas recently. God bless them. But look. Trump visits famous Philly steak. Look at Texas. I did these videos a few days ago. In Texas, they kept showing this. Mailbox 111. When the waters came up, they kept showing this. And I caught it. 111 on the mailbox. People, these powers, they speak like that, baby. And that's my gift, to bring it apart. So 111, is that an accident? That in 1913, the Federal Reserve was created, and 7/18, he'll be fired, allegedly. 111, we'll see. And let's go here. His Chairman Powell's birthday, February 4th. Take February 4th, 2025. He just had a birthday. The day he'll be fired, allegedly, 7/18/2025. The difference is 165 days. What's 165? The 165th day of the year. Look at that. It's June 14th. What's June 14th? That's Trump's birthday. Go ahead and scream. Look how ridiculous this is. What are the odds? This man's birthday is February 4th. February 4th. That's his birthday. Subtract his last birthday from the day he'll be fired, allegedly, is 165th day. 165 days. 165 days means June 14th, and that's Trump's birthday. Can you say planned? I'm so glad God gave me the gift. I don't have the views that I deserve, but baby, I'm revealing stuff. Couldn't be a coincidence. Then look, Pharaoh Akhenaten had a terrible economy. Yes, Pharaoh economic, religious, and social reforms are widely believed to have negative impacted the Egyptian economy. His focus on Atenism, the worship of a single god, sun god like Ra, led to the suppression of traditional deities and the priesthoods, disrupting established religious and economic structures. This, coupled with the construction of a new capital, Akhenaten placed a significant strain, on resources and manpower. Yeah, does that sound like Trump? Doge, all the firing? He put a strain on resources through tariffs, did he not? And manpower is labor. Come on now. They're repeating history. If I'm right, then check this out. Here's a video I did 3 months ago. My Lord, they got to send us the plot. Watch this.
Check this out. CVS pharmacy stores. In 2025, CVS is closing hundreds of stores, including 270 in 2025 as part of a strategic plan to optimize its pharmacy footprint and addressing changing customer needs and industry pressure. Really? Okay. Walgreens, they want to cut 1,200 underperforming stores by 2027. Okay? According to CNBC data, approximately 1/4 of its 8,700 locations were considered unprofitable by the company and subject to potential closure. Can you imagine 8,000, close to 9,000 Walgreens closing? People, I wish I had my colleagues around me right now when I was at KFC.
This is what happens when you make all these businesses the last 30 years. And that's what I talked about it. I talked about that in the video. We had a false economy and everybody was building malls, strip malls. KFC built a lot. Burger King built a lot. Walgreens built a lot. X amount of convenience stores. But it was based on a false economy. As our Federal Reserve was printing money out of thin air, the Federal Reserve, yes, that's what they do. And then they're buying all of our debt. Think about it. They give you money. The Federal Reserve prints money out of thin air, but ain't nothing free. They charge you interest rate, and then they buy the debt. So who's running the government? The politicians or the Federal Reserve? Now I got people gonna be in the comment, I know. Well, Pearson, that's what Trump's trying to prevent. He don't want the Federal Reserve to be running anything no more. They're playing Tweedledee, Tweedledum, baby. They're playing games on us. They're playing games.
America had to be slaughtered to be handed over to the Antichrist and his 666 beast system where you can't buy or sell. Do you understand the setup? Whether you agree with me or not that the corporations were in on it or not, it doesn't matter. They're closing down. Comprende? Now watch this. Fred Chairman Powell just discussed inflation. And it comes about every 3-4 months, start talking about what? The Federal Reserve and what they might do to slow down inflation or balance it out. But check it out.
It is now becoming clear that tariff increases will be significantly larger than expected. And the same is likely to be true of economic effects. Our obligation is to keep longer-term inflation expectations well anchored and to make certain that a one-time increase in the price level does not become an ongoing inflation bubble. We're well positioned to wait for greater clarity before considering any adjustments to our policy stance. It is too soon to say what will be the appropriate path for monetary policy.
So he's going to wait.
Trump wants to drop this thing, as you heard, 2 to 3 points, the interest rates, so people can start buying. And then he'll make an incentive to buy homes. That's a beautiful thing. But now you run the risk of inflation. And with this uncertain economy, like WAR overseas, that could tip the scale and make it worse. So now you got to do what? You got to print more money because now you're in WAR. Because you got to pay for the weapons and the helmets and the jeeps and the planes. Do you understand what I'm saying? This ain't no time to be playing, but I tell you, it's a setup. I want you to see the whole game. Now, this is when Trump rang the bell back in the day, New York Stock Exchange. He did this on December 22nd, 2024. Watch this.
About being an apprentice judge, but the man is fascinated by the stock market. As fascinated as the current president is not.
He is no longer just a TV star. He's an incoming leader of the free world. He's going to ring the bell here in about 20 seconds. An historic moment.
Now, he rang it 50 times. I'm going to try to make the video short, but he rang it 50 times. That's symbolic. 50 is 50 states to me, okay? If you go back and watch the video, I'll put the video in the description. He rang the bell 50 times. That's future past, okay? Now watch this. The CPI report I just showed you at the beginning of this video, it came out yesterday. It shows you inflation is up, cost of living is up. July 15th, yesterday, CPI report. July 15th, yesterday, 12/12, the day he rang the bell, the stock exchange, the difference is 216 days ago. August 4th is the 216th day of the year. What's August 4th? That's Barack Obama's birthday. What are the odds? Now look at this.
Barack Obama. Now, we also have a Hoover on a gravestone in Arlington National Cemetery. What happened with him? He served from March 4th of 1929 to March 4th, 1933.
I'm showing you because under him, there was the recession. I mean, there was a Great Depression. And I did a video showing this. Now, I did a gematria on it. I showed, let me see here. Where am I at? JFK went to Arlington National Cemetery on November 11th, 1961. So I took November 11th, right there, graduated to 2024, and I subtracted it from Trump's birthday, and he gave me 216, August 4th, which is Barack Obama's birthday again. But the bottom line is this. The reason why I'm bringing this up, remember when Trump went to Arlington National Cemetery and there was this big ruckus why he should and shouldn't have been there? This was 10 months ago. He wasn't president then. You guys probably remember. It was on his case. Why are you there? Why are you there? You don't have clearance. A family, they said, of different, I believe, POWs and MIAs were there. And remember I pointed the red and black? I'll put this in the description. But notice where he was standing over. He was standing over a graveyard that said Hoover. Hoover. Out of all the gravestones there, he stood over a Hoover. And I'm connecting that today, Hoover, okay? That was done in August. That was August 26th, he was there, 2024. He wasn't president, but I took it as an economic sign. Subtract that from the day they just had a report that the economy was going south, 7:15, the difference is 46. What is 46? 46 is destruction in gematria calculator. Now, stock market crash, October 29th, 1929. But the first rumbling was October 24th, Black Friday. Check October 24th, 2025 anniversary. Yesterday, the reports came out 7:15. The difference is 312. What's 312? Trump beat Kamala Harris by 312 votes when he won Electoral College. Let me know what you think. Is all this coincidence? People, we got to look at the math the way it is. The bottom line is that how do you explain that Jerome Powell's birthday, subtracted from the day he might be fired, comes out to Trump's birthday? God bless. We'll see by Friday.